Ever wondered where Springfield really is? Well, who better to ask than the Simpsons themselves?
Dad, you're not pointing anywhere near Springfield. It's over here, Apu.
Okay, so they aren't going to be much help. Well, it's a good thing I'm here, because today I'm going to be trying to crack the case, combing through all the episodes, all the clues, all the fan theories to find out what state Springfield is really in. And my first potential state is Oregon. When you're looking for answers on a show, it's probably best to go straight to the guys who created it, which in this case is Matt Groening. So we gotta cast our minds all the way back to when the show was first aired, as part of the Tracy Ullman Show.
Well, good night, son.
Dad?
Yeah?
What is the mind?
As you can see, the characters look a heck of a lot different. Basically, the Tracy Ullman Show was a sketch that had a break each week to showcase some animation comedy to keep things fresh, and the execs had spotted a budding young cartoonist who'd made a comic strip called Life in Hell. So they invited him down to pitch an animated short to fill in the spot, but Matt really liked his comic gig and didn't want to fork over any rights from the thing he invented. So before he got to the studio, he decided he was going to pitch something entirely new. Only problem was he didn't know what and had like 5 minutes to make up his mind. So he eventually figured he was going to pitch a show about a madcap family based on his own. Marge and Homer were named after his mom and dad, his sister was also called Lisa, and he swapped himself out for Bart, because that's an anagram for brat. Pretty clever, right? Even his mom's maiden name is Wiggum, which comes back to be used by Chief Wiggum.
Take 'em away, toys.
Take him away, boys.
Hey, I'm the chief here.
What'd you say, Chief?
Do what the kid says.
But the most important thing is obviously the setting, and way back when, Matt decided he was going to have the Simpsons live on the same street he did, Evergreen Terrace, which is in Portland, Oregon. To help him speed through any other characters, Matt also figured he was going to use other street names in Portland to help him name his characters. Like there's a Lovejoy Street, which is obviously the inspiration behind Reverend Lovejoy, there's a Quimby Street, a Flanders Street, and maybe the most on-the-nose duo is Burnside Street, which isn't too far away from Montgomery Park. 2/3 of Mr. Burns' name right there, so at the very least, at its creation, the show was meant to be set in Oregon. And it makes sense too if we look at the geography. There's a big mountain range in Springfield that we see from time to time, and we know there's an ocean as well.
Oh. What's that blinking light? The lighthouse keeper!
If that wasn't proof enough, there's also this from the episode Weekend at Burnsies.
Does it go in the butt?
Well, there is medication, although it's a little controversial. I'm talking about medicinal marijuana, prescription pot, Texas THC.
When this episode aired in 2002, only a very small group of states had legalized medical marijuana, and yep, Oregon was one of them. Obviously, the biggest clue is that there is an actual Springfield in the state too, and it's as picturesque as the one in the show. It's starting to look like Oregon's the most likely state that the show appears in, but there are some things to add into the equation, like there's a fair few Springfields in the country as a whole. And considering the show has been on air since 1989, I don't think it'd be 100% fair to say it's set in a state that the creator picked under pressure before the biggest meeting of his life. Plus, there is this interview in which Matt talks about the possibility of the Simpsons still living in Oregon, so I guess that bursts our bubble. Springfield could be in Oregon, with the way Matt and the gang like to mess with us, but I think we should check out a few more potential places first, like the next state the Simpsons could live in, Illinois. So what do we actually know about Springfield? Well, we know the state has a desert nearby.
Well, it'll be a long time, so why don't I tell you more of the story before your mother gets back with a tire?
We also know it's connected to the ocean.
Not good money, really.
You mean there are actually people who will pay good money for garbage?
Each can will get you a nickel.
As well as a mountain range. A gorge.
This is the greatest thrill of my life! I'm king of the world! I'm gonna make it! I'm gonna make it! Woohoo! Woohoo!
And it has to be in a state that gets snow fairly regularly. Now, all that is a pretty tall order, and we probably won't manage to find a state that has every detail down, but let's go through each state to see if it could potentially match. If we're not going to go with the Oregon theory, I guess that's the first state we can strike off the list. Then we can discount Alaska because the Simpsons travel there in the movie. Speaking of the movie, actually, we also did hear Nick talk about other states that may or may not border Springfield.
Look at that. You can see the 4 states that border Springfield. Nevada, Ohio,
Maine and Kentucky.
So we can wipe those names off the list. Doesn't help much though, because there isn't a state which borders those four, but at least we know Springfield isn't in any of those states. I may also be pushing the boat out here, but I'm pretty sure that Springfield isn't located in Hawaii either. To get a bit of a better clue, we gotta look at the episode Much Ado About Nothing, where we actually see Homer and the kids talking about where Springfield is on the map.
Right here.
Dad, you're not pointing anywhere near Springfield. It's over here, Apu.
Hey, what you doing? Studying?
Obviously, they've used Bart's big head to block out the real answer, but we can probably guess that it's more Heartland, USA than anything on the coastline. So I think we can get rid of both the east and west coasts. There's still a lot of states left to whittle down though, so I'm going to take a look at some times when the states were mentioned in the show, because you'd hardly want to travel somewhere or mention a person from a state in which you were in. Like in Mr. Lisa Goes to Washington, where we see some other finals from other states like Minnesota and Alabama.
Recipe for a free country. Add 1 informed electorate. Mix 1 cup liberty with 3 teaspoons of justice. Based well with veto power.
My belly is yellow. My back is spineless.
So I think we can cross those off the list too. I mentioned a little while ago that the Simpsons often go to other states in the show, and there's a few more to mention, like when Bart and the boys go to Tennessee in Bart on the Road.
Is this the World's Fair Visitor Center?
Used to be.
Or when the family goes to Michigan to visit Homer's long-lost brother Herb.
Yellow. By any chance, is this H. Powell of Detroit, Michigan? Yeah. Does the H stand for Herbert? Yeah. Woohoo! Woo! The H stands for Herbert!
You get the idea, right? The Simpsons visit or mention a lot of states. So if we sift through every single mention of a state, that would mean it probably isn't the one they're in. We get left with 6 options: Arkansas, Kansas, Oklahoma, Virginia, Nebraska, and Illinois. I'm not sure there's any competition really as to which fits the best out of these. Obviously, as you can tell, there's not going to be a fully fitting state because sure, Virginia might just escape being on the East Coast, but where's the desert? There's also no ocean directly connected to Illinois, and there's not that much snow in Oklahoma, but out of all of these, I think Illinois is the best bet for where the Simpsons are located, and I think the show has secretly been pointing this out to us for a long time. Like, look at the episode The Ziff Who Came to Dinner. During the couch gag, we can clearly see that Springfield is in Illinois. We also get another good aerial shot in the episode Bart vs. Lisa vs. the 3rd grade, which seems to double down on the Illinois spot. And here's another aerial zoom out showing us that Springfield is most likely in Illinois.
Another battle between the sexes begins as Homer prepares to fight for his marriage on the other side of Springfield.
Now, as we know, there is an actual Springfield in real-world Illinois, and there are a few shocking similarities. Like, there's also an actual Lake Springfield which isn't too dissimilar to the show's version. And if that wasn't weird enough, there's also a Shelbyville not far outside Springfield in Illinois, which checks out in the show as Springfield's greatest rivals are Shelbyville.
Springfield sucks! Hey, stop talking bad about my town, man.
There's a few flies in the ointment though, of course. Like when I showed you that bit in Much Ado About Nothing where Homer points to the map, he literally points to Chicago and Lisa says that's nowhere near. That's a pretty subjective thing though, because technically Springfield is nowhere near Chicago, but it's also pretty close compared to, say, Oregon. Then there's the fact the capital city is the state capital, and you've got all the other problems like no desert, no real ocean, but hey, at least it snows a lot in Illinois. It's a real possibility that the show is set in the state of Illinois, but there are a few more theories out there I want to talk to you guys about before I give you my real answer. And the next is, what if Springfield is in a fictional state? As we've already covered, the geography of Springfield is pretty varied. I mean, there just isn't a state that has deserts, oceans, mountains, and a fair amount of snowfall. And we already know, thanks to stupid, helpful Flanders, that Springfield borders a handful of other states.
Look at that. You can see the 4 states that border Springfield: Nevada, Ohio, Maine, and Kentucky.
There it is again as a reminder. None of those states are anywhere near each other, and there's certainly no state that borders all of them. Also, if you didn't know, Springfield has a west side that's pretty big.
But West Springfield's 3 times the size of Texas. We'll never find him there.
We have to go save Homer.
Not even Alaska is 3 times bigger than Texas. Plus, I'm pretty sure we'd all know if there was a mammoth-sized state sitting in the middle of the country. It does add up though that the state is pretty big because within a day, the family can travel all the way to Mexico.
Get ready for 2 weeks Tijuana at the happiest place on earth.
Well, what about a state flag? Surely that would give us an answer, right? Is it the state flag of Oregon, Illinois, someplace else? Nope, it's entirely made up.
Only a moron wouldn't cast his vote for Monty Burns.
It even says not just another state on the flag. Hardly surprising, the creators love confusing us. Actually, it's worse than that. They're laughing at us. Take a look at this chalkboard gag and tell me they're not yanking our chain here. That gag actually got edited on reruns because they just love messing with us. But the guys over at The Simpsons can sometimes give us a little glimpse into their world and how they view things. And that's exactly what a director and producer on the show, David Silverman, did. He actually said that he thinks The Simpsons are in a fictional state called North Tacoma, which would make sense. I mean, Homer does have an NT tax code, NT, North Tacoma, but this hasn't been confirmed by anyone else or by the show. Given how crazy the landscape is in Springfield, no matter how many times you try fitting the jigsaw piece into the USA, so it's probably our strongest possibility yet that the answer for what state Springfield is in is fictional. However, there's still one more theory I'd like to touch on, because I want to make sure you have all the info. And that last theory is, what if Springfield was in an influx state? A state that constantly changes depending on the needs of the episode or story. Well, this isn't just a theory, this is actually something that was tackled by the show itself in the episode Trash the Titans. Let me set the scene. Basically, Homer starts running his mouth on some garbage men.
You guys are the lousiest garbage men ever! You trash-eating stink bags! Yeah, I'm talking to you!
And the workers don't exactly enjoy being called names, so they decide to cut off the service at the Simpson home, which means trash starts piling up.
Easy, Ned. Don't breathe in.
To keep the place from turning into more of a health hazard, Marge forces Homer's signature in an apology letter to the sanitation commissioner of Springfield. It works, and the trash is being picked up again, but Homer isn't happy. So he decides he's going to show the sanitation guys what for by running to be their commissioner.
How would you rate the trash service in this town? Fellow citizens, I would deem it excellent.
That's not what you want to hear, but Homer basically lies to the people of Springfield and he manages to sway their minds.
Woohoo!
Aren't you gonna buy it, Dad?
50 cents? Not likely.
Obviously, putting a guy like Homer in charge isn't exactly a smart thing to do, and it's not long before he's pulling something real stupid.
Other cities don't want it. Look at that beautiful garbage. So they pay me to dump it in this old abandoned mine.
That amount of trash from different cities being pushed into and underneath Springfield quickly piles up, and before long, an innocent landfill turns into a tsunami of trash. With the town now knee-deep in rubbish, Mayor Quimby calls a crisis meeting where he realizes he has no other option. He has to call for Plan B.
We must move forward and turn to the town's all-purpose contingency plan. Time for panic has come.
You mean Plan B?
Yes, B.
But what is Plan B?
Moving the whole town 5 miles down the road.
Yeah, it's something all right.
It's crazy.
So we transplant the town. We're just gonna trash the new Springfield, too.
So you're telling me that a town makes its buildings fit with wheels so that at any time they can just up and move to another place? When you think about it, it does add up. The constant changing in the geography of the place would make sense if the town was always moving, and with the Simpsons family in town, a disaster is never too far away. But just look at Evergreen Terrace. The layout of that place basically changes by the episode. Here's what the Simpsons backyard usually looks like.
All right. Everybody in the pool.
'Tis a fine barn, but sure 'tis no pool, English.
Do it!
Just a normal yard, right? Well, how do you explain this in another episode?
Hi, Dad.
Or like how randomly Moe's Tavern's like a 25-second walk from the Simpsons house?
I did it. I walked all the way to Moe's from my house.
Way to go, Dad.
And we know usually Homer would need a car to get there. But notice the houses all next to Moe's. Sometimes there's a church there. I think you guys get what I'm saying, right? The town does just move around a lot, and with the way the townsfolk weren't really that shocked by the plan, I think it's safe to say that they've seen it being put into action before. So there's quite a few options to pick from here. I think if Springfield had to be in a real state, my money would be on Illinois. But if you ask me what I really thought, I'd say that Springfield is a constantly changing town that changes its state as it needs to. From both a logistical and story sense, it does add up. Like with it being this way, it allows for a lot more parodies. That way, everyone can relate, because technically, Springfield was the friends we made along the way. Obviously, that's just my opinion. I'm sure you guys will have your own. I mean, the true answer is whenever Homer's around, Springfield's usually in a terrible state. If you guys want to check out some more of the Simpsons stuff that we covered on this channel, then head on over to our channel. Like I just said, there's a lot of content to sift through, trust me. But if you can't wait and want an instant classic, then click the video on screen right about now. And as always, thank you for watching.